Hi there, I am Megan Freed. We are at Freed Marcroft's Hartford office. It's a little quiet today because we are the only people here. I'm here with Laura Renfro. We are distanced
We are?
from each other, but I am not distanced from this dog.
No, you're not.
We're here to talk about how to take care of yourself, and Laura Renfro is a licensed marital and family therapist and a very good friend of Freed Marcroft's, and she's going to give us concrete tips on how to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of other people. So this is first. If you do one thing, do this, right?
Absolutely. Because
Own
as you
oxygen
said,
mask.
your own oxygen mask, exactly. It's a great example of reminding people you've got to take care of yourself so that you can take care of others.
Right.
If you're not okay, then others aren't going to be okay. But today we're just going to focus on this segment, just on yourself.
That's right.
How are we taking care of ourselves during this really unusual and kind of precedenting time of being mostly home?
That's right.
In Connecticut anyway. Most everybody is home.
And I think rolling out other people too.
Absolutely rolling out other people.
I was just telling Laura before we started shooting that yesterday, Kristen and I turned off the alerts on our phones and didn't watch TV. And it was the best day so far. I really could not recommend it highly enough. We still learned everything we needed to know and had our heads felt totally screwed on.
That's great. That's wonderful. So we're going to have a couple of tips today for you. And the first tip that I like the most, to be honest with you, is get outside at least 3 times a day for short periods of time.
Because quarantine doesn't mean don't go outside.
Not at this point in
Right.
time. Absolutely. And so while you can, get outside, take a quick walk, go check out and see if any daffodils are blooming in your yard. Look for signs of spring. I've been seeing buds on the trees in my backyard. And getting outside also on a sunny day, it's good for you because you absorb a little bit of vitamin D, which we are all lacking in New England. Almost all of us are lacking in New England during the winter times.
Take your animals for a walk.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can stay a safe distance from people and not be holed up all day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So like you just said, one of the tips is to limit the amount of news or the amount of Facebook or the amount of Twitter, whatever you're watching or looking at. Limit that for yourself, because when we're bombarded by what we hear on the news and what we see on the computers, it's a little overwhelming, and I think it's increasing anxiety for a lot of people.
That's right. And things are happening. I mean, it's the news' job to cover this, right? But
Sure.
you don't need to know every new update that happens.
Well, and if you were at work, you probably wouldn't, right?
Right,
And though
right.
you're working from home now, there's a little bit probably more flexibility in being able to look at those things and have that option to see things more. But I think limiting it to a certain period of time, whatever feels right for you, is a really important thing to do. I have been making a list of things at my house that I haven't gotten to.
I love it.
The list keeps getting longer, I have to admit. So, I have a number of things that I'm just going to get done.
Okay.
They're pretty simple, and I'm going to be working a little bit less. I am working virtually, but I'm going to be working a little bit less. So there are things, some cleaning and some organizing, and actually I opened up my computer last night to do a little bit of emailing, and I noticed my files are just a mess. So I'm really
On your computer.
on my computer. So I'm going to spend some time in my Finder reorganizing things.
Yeah, so it's like if you were in a restaurant, this would be called side work, right?
Yeah. Or deep cleaning, right?
Right, in our life,
Yeah.
it's get to the list.
Right,
And
absolutely.
get the sense of accomplishment that comes from finishing it.
Right. Hobbies?
Yeah.
Does anyone remember what those are? Back in the day, they used to be things like woodworking, knitting, crocheting, doing puzzles. If you have an old hobby, wouldn't it be a great time to resurrect that?
Yeah, I wish I had really ever learned how to knit because that would be great now. But I'm big into the jigsaw puzzles.
That's perfect, which
great.
is super fun, right?
Yeah, it's tactile,
It
distracting.
gives your brain something else to do.
There's a sense of accomplishment.
Absolutely.
It's great.
Absolutely. So whatever it is, maybe you take up painting. There's lots of online painting classes too.
Mhm.
If you happen to have some stuff in your house or some colored pencils, you start to get creative, start to use your brain in a different way.
Cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So spring cleaning and organizing and decluttering and things like that are great items for people to do for themselves. But even more importantly, what are the things when you're anxious and when you're scared make you feel better? Because a lot of people are experiencing a significant increase in anxiety.
Yeah.
So what things bring you comfort?
So for me,
Yeah.
and we've talked about this before, if I get on my Peloton,
Yes.
or if I take the dog for a walk, I feel new after it. I feel like I feel a release and sense of accomplishment. So for me, it's exercise. And by the way, I mean, my brain is telling me, nah, you don't have to. Just finish that email and write. And so I'm. It's all easy to be disciplined when you're not stressed. And for me, it's like this is the time. This is when the rubber hits the road. We have to be demonstrating leadership through keeping our commitments to ourselves.
Absolutely. And so perhaps you're not an exerciser, but maybe you like to meditate. And if you do, this is a perfect time for meditation. Maybe you like to do yoga, and you pull up some yoga videos. Maybe one of the things that you like to do is really lengthy, long, luxurious baths.
Right.
Whatever it is that brings you some comfort.
Fiction reading.
Reassurance. Reading, get lost in a book. How nice would it be to get lost in a book, like a summer beach read even, right? So those things are very, very important. The other piece for those of you who have therapists, now is probably not the time to quit therapy.
Now is the time to not quit therapy.
Now is the time to not quit therapy. Exactly.
Right.
So hopefully many of your therapists will be going online and being on HIPAA compliant.
There is
platforms.
a way that therapists can be compliant online.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they should be HIPAA compliant. As a licensed marriage and family therapist, I want people to know that your therapist should be taking the appropriate measures to keep your information confidential and keep it safe the same way they would in their offices.
Yeah.
It's very important. The most important tip, I think, besides going for a walk, staying in touch with family and friends.
FaceTime, phone calls.
FaceTime, phone calls, nothing more reassuring than seeing your best friend's face, right?
Right, still human interaction.
Because we probably aren't seeing each other the way we used to. And I know I miss my friends already. And so I've been putting in some calls and plan on doing more of that myself in the next couple of days.
Thank you, Laura Renfro.
Thank you, Meghan.
Thank you all for being here. Keep your head on straight. Then we can go help other people.
That's right.